Welcome into episode 221 of the Skate Podcast. I'm Brian DeFelice, joined by Bridget Prue and Scott McLaughlin. Bridget and Scott, long time no talk. I feel like I've seen you guys in, I don't know, a couple of years maybe.
I know.
Yeah, we recorded I think maybe 10 hours ago. I don't know, something like that. It feels like it wasn't that long. I slept and then I woke up and now I'm talking to you guys again.
It was a little longer than that, but yeah, back-to-back days for us. As we mentioned on the last episode, I recorded an interview with Pavel Zacha over the weekend. So we dropped our reactions to preseason game 1. If anyone missed that, you can go back, check that out. But now we're going to drop the Zacha interview. And, just as a little lead in, basically why I wanted to talk to Zacha is obviously because he's stepping into a really big role as at least one of the top 2 centers and most likely the number 1 center. If you're going to look at, which center's going to be expected to put up the most offense, probably play the most minutes. It's going to be him. He's probably going to be on a line with David Pastrnak. So that's really your de facto top line, almost no matter who the left wing is. So, just a fascinating role for him. Last year at this time, he's coming to a new team. He's just trying to find a place to fit in after, never quite clicking the way he really wanted in New Jersey. Obviously, he was 6th overall pick back in 2015, but gets to the NHL at a young age, but, really bounced all over New Jersey's lineup. They end up with, back-to-back top 2 picks. They take 2 other centers in Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, and Zacha never really quite settled into a, sort of long-term home on any line there, and gets to Boston last year. And then, after moving around a little bit early in the season, finds it on the check line with Krejci and Pastrnak, has a career year, exceeds his old career high in points by 21 up to 57 points. And now is, now he's going to be the number 1 center.
Yeah, and so I don't know if we want to preface it anymore or just throw right to Zacha, and then, we'll give a little quick reaction after the fact to some of the stuff you talked about with Scott.
I'm good. I'm good with whatever. Yeah, I think, that's a little bit of setup. So, yeah, might as well go right to the interview. All right, I'm here with Pavel Zacha on the Skate Podcast. Pavel, thanks for taking a few minutes. We just got through 3rd day of practice here in training camp. How do you feel it's going so far?
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, it's been good. I think, we can see a lot of effort in guys, a lot of young guys trying to make the team, and the whole team overall who stayed here from last year just, want to get better and have a better season even than last year. So I think everyone has their motivation to come into training camp.
Want to get to your new role in a minute, but first off, just what was your summer like? Were you around here the whole time? Did you get to go back home at all?
Yeah, I was here most of the summer, and then I flew to Czech for 3 weeks. I got married there, and then had basically 3 weeks away, and then rest of the summer here in Boston. So I stayed here with some of the guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what kind of things did you want? Obviously, Bergeron and Krejci are gone.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing's set in stone yet, but it looks like you're one of the top 2 centers, possibly the number 1 center. What kind of things do you focus on, knowing that you're going into the season and, that kind of spot?
I think I'm going to try to build on what we did end of this season and start of the playoffs, where I got a chance to play in the center a little bit, a couple games there, and, just as much as you can do in the summer, just trying to get a great feeling to come to training camp, getting ready physically. And then, one of the things that I wanted to focus on, starting with the training camp is face-offs, especially. I haven't got a chance to play much last year, so that's something if I want to play the bigger minutes and play this important role, so I have to be good at face-offs. It's having a player like Bergie and stuff missing, who was always about 50%. That's something that I have to focus on and get better at.
And you've had some seasons over 50% when you're in New Jersey. Is it kind of just a matter of repetition, actually getting those chances, or are there specific things you're working on that you see that you need to improve?
Yeah, there's for sure, repetition always makes you better. I think when you're missing, 3-4 months without a face-offs, it's kind of the timing thing of the puck dropping and stuff, and then then you have to figure out how to play. I was never really good with righties, so I have to really get better with that. And I have Charlie Cole to practice with, and as a righty too, it's going to be good for me to practice the opposite side too, and try to get better with that.
You mentioned playing some center down the stretch last year, even in the playoffs. How much did that help, just in terms of maybe building some confidence as you now shift to center full time this season?
Yeah, it was hard to focus on where I'm going to be last year. I was used in great situations last year. When they needed me, I was trying to play there, and I wasn't really thinking at the moment that next year, you never knew what's going to happen with Bergie and Kretsch and stuff. But I always felt, great coming to center. I think it's more of my natural position to play there. At least, give me the chance to start training camp in a center, and then we'll see we go from there. I was lucky enough to play last year, even the wing with Kretsch and Pasta most of the season, and with players like that, being able to play was a lot of learning for me, and seeing Bergie every day and Kretsch every day and Charlie Cole every day, just how they practice and how they think about on the ice, and during games, two-way centers. That's something that I want to work on too.
I'm sure this is always where you envisioned yourself as, number one center on a good team, this kind of situation. Were there times in New Jersey where you as you're moving around, as, whatever it might be, you're playing different positions, different lines, that you wondered if, this might happen?
Yeah, I think, I'm lucky enough that we have, really good centermen here. I think me and Charlie Cole can push each other to be better and better centermen moving forward. So I think that's gonna be fun to have him, here as a center with me, and I can learn from him a lot. And I think in Jersey it was a matter of I was drafted pretty high and came to the league as a centerman. Then I played my first year, basically half a year on a wing, and then just having high draft picks and first 2 overall picks were Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, both centers. So I kind of knew that if I wanted to play center in that organization, it's gonna be really hard. And I was lucky enough to come here. I wasn't really traded here, I don't think, as a center specifically. I think I was more to fill the roles that I can jump on a center but also play wing, and that's what I did last year. And I think this year it's more focusing on the center role for me.
Obviously you had a career year last year, and goals, assists, points, all of it. Was there a moment where it kind of clicked for you, where you were like, all right, this is the right place, this is working, this is better than what I've had before? Yeah,
I think starting in a training camp, I think it was, just the guys that were around the winning culture, and everyone just kind of took me in right away. It took me, I think, 2 months to, get really comfortable with, it was new coaching staff, new players, and getting comfortable. I think post-Christmas, I think it really clicked with the line, with everyone that I played with. I felt comfortable. I think I started to show what player I can be, and just started to get better from there. So I don't really want to take the 2 months to get into it this year. Just, it's a short season, so you have to start early.
What kind of pressure do you put on yourself as you shift into, one of these top 2 center roles, if any? Do you have to maybe guard against putting too much pressure on yourself or anything like that?
I think I always wanted to have a pressure. I think that's what it was in Jersey when I didn't have the pressure and was, on a second, third line wing and didn't get the opportunity that I wanted. I think that's something that I couldn't perform on my highest level. I think the pressure, in playoffs and everything like that, that's what I thrive on. So even last year, I was lucky enough to play, most of the season in top 6, and that's a pressure too. But it's something that you get more opportunity with the more pressure you have, and that's something, more ice time. So I love that pressure. I think it makes me a better player, and I think I can handle it.
I know last season you talked about Bergeron being a player you really admired and modeled your game after, even from afar. What kinds of things did you learn from him last year, seeing him up close and personal?
Yeah, it was, you always saw what great of a player he is playing against him, then being able to see him every day here, just how he reads the plays, especially defensively. I've never seen a player with a great stick and being always in the right position. For me as a center, finding an offensive zone, those open areas in the middle where he scored all of goals from, and was found there in the middle. But more meeting him as a person, how he was in a locker room as a leader. That's something you don't get the chance to see if you don't play on the team, and that was something that a lot of people admire about him, how he takes care of the players and how he treats everyone the same, and just got the best out of us last year too.
You're not the same player as Bergeron. You're not the same exact player as Krejci, but are there things that you learn from those guys that you try to incorporate into your game?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of great things. As I said, I try to do the face-offs as they did, and I think the two-way game is something that they were one of the best players in the league with, and Berge, best player in the league as a two-way center. That's something, seeing that, and then how they were really about everything was about the locker room. They wanted everyone to feel comfortable, both of them, and that's why we were such a success in the regular season last year. I think everyone liked each other, the whole team kind of bonded, and that's something that I found out last year even more, that it's so important to have a team culture and moving forward.
You got to play in a line with David Pastrnak a lot of last season. Mm-hmm. Usually you two as the wings with Krejci in the middle, but as we've mentioned, towards the end you were center with him for a little while. What kinds of things did you learn about playing with Pastrnak that you could carry into this season if you guys do start the year together?
I think both of them. I think Krejci and Pasta were both really good talking to me before I played with them, kind of showing me where they're going to be on the ice. When I got the puck, I always knew where Pasta likes to be and where they're kind of what positions they like to play in offensive zone and where they like to be, and they kind of let me play, but told me those are the areas we're going to be staying and looking forward. So I think that's something once you learn, you always look for those areas and play there. And when you have a player like who can score 60 goals, I think you're looking for him there too. And he's one of the most skilled players I played with. He can make one-on-one plays, he can score goals. He's also a great passer and makes it easier for me to play with a player like that.
I would imagine it might be tempting when you're on a line with Pastrnak. You just want to get him the puck. He's David Pastrnak. He's scoring 60 goals. Mm-hmm. Do you sometimes have to be a little more selfish or more aggressive, or take what's there?
Yeah, I think sometimes a little bit more, but I think he's also an unselfish player. He gives you the puck back. It's not you give it to him and you never see the puck back. I think when you give it to him, if you open yourself in the area, you're gonna get the puck back, and I think that's why it worked. All three of us knew that we were unselfish players and give each other the puck to a better position. So I think we're gonna try to do that this year.
In training camp so far, you've been on the line with James Van Riemsdyk, and obviously that could carry into the regular season potentially. Mm-hmm. What has it been like just gelling with him, for a few practices? Yeah,
he's a great person off the ice too. I think coming in, it's great add to our team, and he seems like a great person. I think what we need to, something like a great net front presence. He's really smart around that, can score goals, and playing with me, and if he play with Pasta, the net front presence is going to be huge there too. And I think he's a really smart player. He makes plays, and so far it's been good. It's been only 3 practices, not really a game, except some 5-on-5 situations. But we know how good he is on the other team, so I'm excited to see him with the Bruins.
I asked Jim Montgomery, what's maybe a couple things he's looking for from you, and he mentioned hanging on to pucks more in the offensive zone, and then D zone. He said closing on guys faster. How do you feel about those two aspects of your game? Yeah,
I think that's something as a center you get better at too. The reads, once you're going to play more and more games, I think the reads coming there faster. Being comfortable with the system now and everything coming to this year. So that's something. There's always something to get better at with your game. But that's what's exciting about hockey. There's always something you can get better with the next year, and those are things that are easier fix. Just to be ready on my toes in defensive zone and handing on the pucks more. I think it's something that I need to get better. I think I was getting better with my career, not trying to give it away right away. Use my size and my body, kind of hold on to pucks and finding the scoring areas for other players.
Bigger picture, just how are you? Obviously you have such an incredible regular season last year, ends in disappointment in the playoffs. Just how are you guys approaching this season? What's kind of the mindset, attitude going in?
Yeah, I think we kind of know it's going to be hard to beat the record that we had last year, and I think that's something that was in the past, and it's it's still going to hurt. Like when I was coming back and seeing all the players coming back in, you talk about it a little bit, but I think it's time to we had a great team last year, and we're not missing that many pieces to put it all together and have a great regular season. We just have to start from the beginning and the goal is to have the 5-game segments again and basically win 3 out of 5 every time and go from there. I think we can really be looking right now at the playoffs. We didn't even start yet, so I liked about last year we had the 5-game segments and just focusing on that, and that's what paid off for us.
I think when a lot of, whether it's analysts, fans, media, whoever, look at this Bruins team, they're going to say, well, Bergeron and Krejci are gone. Center's going to be the big question mark. Do they have enough there? How do you respond to people who might be doubting that the Bruins are good enough down the middle?
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to show on the ice. We can be talking about it here and speaking about it, but I think we have a great center group. It's missing Bergeron Crenshaw. We're not going to get it back. I think those are one of the best centermen who ever played for the Bruins, and it's going to be hard. We're going to be miss them, but I think for me and Charlie Coyle and these guys, it's going to be exciting to step up and try to do our best. To be as best of a player as we can be, and that's all on the ice.
Do you embrace that challenge of not just this season, but the role that you can play for this organization going forward? Really potentially run with this kind of role.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially in a historic team like this, being able to have a chance to play those roles, it's exciting. That's what I was hoping for when I got traded here, and now the opportunity is here. I think I got a lot of opportunity last year and even bigger this year. So that's what a player you dream about, especially being on a team like this. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a great and fun season.
Okay, I like to end these with some non-hockey question. Okay. You've spent time in Boston this summer, even before you were a Bruin, but now that you've been here, what's your favorite thing to do around the city or region? Besides just playing hockey.
I like to. We have a couple of friends in Cape Cod. I like to go there in the summer, to be by the beach there. I think it's great that the city's on the water, so being around there, great restaurants and I think the sports in the city, being able to go to Red Sox games, and the Boston Revolution games, Celtics, after our season and stuff. That's something that is not really in every city, especially this close drive-wise, to go to so many different sports and such a high level too. Celtics were doing great last year and stuff, so. I think I enjoyed that a lot, just like the big sports team, everyone's supporting it, everyone's wearing jerseys, even in summers. It's a fun city to be around, even in postseason.
I know we've seen Pasternak and kind of embrace the revolution. He's popped up down there at some soccer games, especially European guys. I know MLS, it's not the top European leagues, but in your experience, how does it compare?
It's hard to compare. I mean, I've been to only a couple of games, and they treat me there really well. I think that's one of the things too. The teams treat each other really well when you come to the games, and those soccer was good. I think it's picking up here. I think especially since I went to see Red Bull New York my first year compared to now. The league is getting way better. Now we have a Czech goalie who came to Revolution, so I think that's exciting for us to go watch a couple of games and seeing it.
World Cup coming in a few years.
I know. I heard at first there actually when I was there. They told me about it. They're gonna be hosting some games too, so it's gonna be hard to get into those games. But I hope they will be able to watch a couple because what a tournament.
Maybe Czechia qualifies.
Yeah, I mean we'll be cheering for them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You never know. It's a lot of soccer. It's a global sport, more than hockey. So I think it's harder to get to those tournaments. But hopefully, it'll be fun.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pavel. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Pavel Zacha, obviously. I'm wondering if you guys have any reactions to it. To me, some of the stuff that stood out is just how he's really embracing this pressure. He says he likes the pressure. He felt like when he was in New Jersey and was a little lower in the lineup and didn't really have that pressure, he didn't really get the best out of himself. And, last year, he got better and better as the year went on, as it became clear that this was going to be a team with really high expectations. And now he's embracing this move into, one of the top two center roles. So that was kind of what stood out to me, is that he's not shying away from it. He's very much, looking forward to this challenge and this opportunity to run with such a big role on this team.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and he's definitely going to have that pressure this year for sure, more so than he has had last year. But he's also set up for success. He is playing his natural position, which he mentioned. He knows what he needs to work on from last year, not having taken as many draws, something that he's been working on a lot in the offseason. He mentioned Charlie Coyle a few times and how those two have been pushing each other at the faceoff dot. Especially, he said, against righties, he wanted to improve his draws. So that's one key thing to look at. But he already has that chemistry with Pasta from last year. And it almost feels like no matter who you put on that left wing, just the two of them alone and the playmakers that they are should be able to make that line work. And as of right now, it has been James Van Riemsdyk another player that Zacha talked about that Scott, you asked him about, and how Zacha thinks that the net front role that Van Riemsdyk might be able to play on that line could be big for opening up scoring opportunities for them as well. I think that of all of the lines, I like how that one balances out. We're not sure that's going to be the exact line that goes into it, but I feel like he's in a comfortable situation comparatively to some of these other lines.
Yeah, I think Zacha, as you mentioned, he's in a good spot. I feel like there's gonna be probably less criticism or spotlight on Zacha than there will be on Coyle. I think Charlie Coyle is the one, not because he's a hometown kid. He's from Weymouth, by the way, but because he is probably going to be playing alongside Marchand, right? And that's where the void of Bergeron being Marchand center for the last 12 years or so is really going to be, like, as you mentioned, he'll be able to score playing alongside David Pastrnak. That line, while it's important to be reliable defensively, I don't think they're going to get any shutdown assignments, right? Their job's going to be to go out there and score. And if you have a 60-plus goal scorer on your right wing, you're going to be able to do that. I mean, Pastrnak can do that, and Zacha has offense to his game. So I definitely, for me, what's interesting about Zacha is, and forgive my ignorance here, but I don't know how much of his time in New Jersey he was playing center compared to wing. But even if it was, call it a 50-50 split, it's very, very interesting and intriguing to watch Zacha have to come in and replace Bergeron / Krejci without really much like NHL center experience. That's a very uncommon thing for any NHL team to replace a top 2 center with somebody who doesn't really have that experience at the NHL level, not consistently at least. And especially in original 6 with expectations to win and win now, despite key losses. I think he's capable of it. I think he's a very smart player. He's a good skater, good hands, good vision. And again, he's going to be tasked with a more offensive role. And so it might be easier to not see Zacha's defense stand out than it would be to not see Coyle's offense stand out, if that makes any sense. So I think Coyle's going to have a little bit more eyes on him. I think Zacha I think he's set to have a really strong career year, and there might be some growing pains, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I kind of see Zacha, if we're thinking in terms of what we saw from Bergeron and Krejci for so long, not that these guys are going to be the exact same, they won't be, but I kind of see Zacha getting a little bit more of the Krejci role where, to your point, Brian, like it is geared a little more towards offense. It's, more shifts in the offensive zone, maybe picking spots to get him out against lower lines. And that, again, we think it's going to be a Marchand, Coyle, DeBrusk line. That's probably the one that gets used, maybe more defensive zone starts, actual using them for matchups against opponents' top lines. And that's where Coyle's experience, last year, starting to get some of those assignments in a third line role can pay off, because now he may very well be getting more of them this year. So I think Zacha is going to be set up well offensively for sure. That said, you still have to be a 200-foot player. I've said this before. I always think David Krejci's defense was pretty underrated. Like, he wasn't Bergeron, which is obviously why he got overshadowed, understandably so. But Krejci, for the vast majority of his career, more than held his own in his own zone and did the work that you need a center to do in the Bruins system. And Zacha got a little bit of experience doing that towards the end of the year and did a pretty good job with it. But now you're talking about, a full season right off the jump. And so, we talked about that too. He talked about how he wants to be the 200-foot player that those guys were. Obviously, Bridget, as you mentioned, all the work on faceoffs. He only won 45.3% of his faceoffs last year. Now, he has been over 50% in some seasons with New Jersey in the past, so it's not like he can't do it. It's not like it's always been a weakness. You see that happen sometimes with guys if they just aren't taking faceoffs regularly. You're just kind of, your timing's off. Like you just have to get that back through repetitions. So I think he'll be fine on faceoffs. It's not going to be Bergeron up near 60%, but I think he can certainly be over 50%, which will be important because they, as of right now, the Bruins don't have a lot of left shot faceoff man. It's basically just Zacha, maybe Frederick if he improves, maybe Beecher if he makes the team.
And I think that's a line. I think I may have cut out there again. My computer doesn't want me to talk. It's fine. Winning faceoffs is more than just the center versus center, right? It's your wings getting in there and helping out. How many of Bergeron's 60% faceoff wins were 50-50 pucks up for grab that go Boston's way? I'm not really sure, but it's definitely a good amount. So Pastrnak and Van Riemsdyk, if those are his wingers to start, like have to be able to get in there and help out for sure on those 50-50 pucks. So Bridget, any final comments on the Zacha interview before we close this out?
No, good job, Scott. Thank you, Pavel.
Thank you, Pavel.
Yeah, as we did last year, I'm gonna try to get more of these during training camp, throughout preseason. So, we'll see. It could be more coming.
And so tomorrow the Bruins play the Sabres in their second preseason game up in Buffalo. I think it's in Buffalo, unless it's in some sort of neutral site. I don't know, but I think the Bruins are the away team.
Just to clarify, in case people are listening, on Tuesday, that game's Tuesday night.
On Tuesday, that game is Tuesday night. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know when the Bruins will release their game day lineup. It might be Tuesday morning. I'm not sure what the roster is yet for that game, but we'll be reacting to it for sure. And so Bridget and Scott, unless you have anything else, thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you very soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching the Skate Podcast. If you want to see more of our videos, visit our playlist.
Not in front of a screen? You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment.